I'm Leia, 32, married to Jack, 34, for 4 years. We have a 3-year-old son and are expecting twins, a boy and a girl. This story involves Jack's sister-in-law, Miranda, 36, who is married to his brother, Tony, 40. They've been married for 7 years. Miranda and I are complete opposites. She's bold, loves being the focal point at family gatherings, and has an opinion on everything. I'm more reserved, preferring to observe quietly. When Jack first introduced me to his family, I told him Miranda and I would never be best friends. We've maintained a polite but distant relationship since. The issues started 3 years ago during my first pregnancy. Miranda and Tony had been trying unsuccessfully to have kids for years. Whenever my pregnancy came up at family dinners, Miranda would either redirect the conversation or make remarks about how pregnancy wasn't special since countless women experience it daily. Then she'd disappear to the bathroom for long stretches. Midway through my pregnancy, Miranda offered to organize my baby shower. I politely declined, explaining that my mom and sister were already handling it. She kept pushing for weeks until I had to be firm about not wanting her involved. Her behavior got stranger after we shared we were expecting a boy. Miranda became fixated on learning his name. At every family event, call or text, she'd ask about it. When I said we weren't sharing until the birth, she got visibly upset and commented on how secretive we were being. Jack and I picked a rare, traditional Irish name for our son, uncommon in our region. Once we announced it, Miranda couldn't stop praising its uniqueness and beauty, bringing it up constantly for months, telling everyone it was the most perfect name she'd ever heard. Fast forward to this year. Miranda got pregnant around the same time I did with the twins, about 9 weeks ahead of me. When we revealed we were having twins, her obsession with names returned. This time, she demanded both names. Since we were having a boy and a girl, her comments also turned nastier. She'd say things like I'd probably gain double the weight with twins and never lose it. At a family barbecue, when someone congratulated us, she loudly claimed we got pregnant deliberately to overshadow her. Everyone knew we'd been trying for a second child for over a year. I chose to ignore her remarks completely. Miranda thrives on drama and conflict, so I figured the best way to annoy her was to give her no reaction. After weeks of her pestering about the twins' names, I grew suspicious. I asked Jack if he thought Miranda wanted our names to use them first, since she was due earlier. He laughed at first but soon admitted it was possible. I decided to test my theory. Jack's dad was turning 61, and we were hosting a party at our house the next weekend. We'd been setting up a nursery for the twins in our guest room, but it wasn't finished. I came up with a plan to plant fake names somewhere Miranda might find them if she snooped. I went online and designed custom wall decals with 2 names I liked but weren't close to our actual choices: Rose Arwin and Luke Max. I completed the order process but stopped before paying, printing the confirmation sheet with the names clearly listed. The night before the party, I folded the paper and tucked it into the nursery dresser's middle drawer, making it look carelessly placed, with one corner sticking out just enough to catch attention. Jack thought my plan was ridiculous but bet me $23 that Miranda wouldn't snoop. We were busy hosting the party, so we didn't track Miranda's movements. The next morning, I checked the nursery. Everything looked untouched, and the paper was still in the drawer, exactly as I'd left it. Jack and I assumed the test failed and moved on. But then something curious happened. Miranda stopped asking about the twins' names after the party. For someone who'd been relentless for weeks, her sudden silence was odd. For weeks later, she gave birth. Jack and I visited the hospital to meet our nephew. When I asked Miranda the baby's name, she smirked and said, "Luke Max," staring at me as if expecting a big reaction. Instead of acting upset, I gushed enthusiastically, saying how stunning the name was, how perfectly it fit, and how lucky they were to pick such a wonderful combination. I went on for a full minute, watching Miranda's expression shift from smug satisfaction to confusion, then visible irritation. Jack struggled not to laugh beside me. In the elevator, he handed me $23, shaking his head. We didn't see Miranda and Tony for a few weeks, giving them space with their newborn. According to Jack's mom, Miranda was finding new parenthood tougher than expected, possibly due to postpartum blues. When I told my sister about the incident, she laughed but then said I was harsh for setting Miranda up like that. I'm torn about whether I was wrong. Miranda made my pregnancy miserable with her constant demands and rude comments. The fake names weren't even ones I planned to use later. But maybe I crossed a line with the trap. Should I feel guilty? Update 1. The situation with Miranda has gotten more complicated. Let me explain why we've never clicked. The tension started when Jack and I got engaged after just 9 months of dating. Miranda told family members I was rushing Jack into marriage and might have trapped him somehow. When Jack's grandmother said she was thrilled to have another granddaughter, Miranda pointedly remarked that she hoped Jack was sure about his choice. Our wedding made things worse. Jack and I had a traditional church ceremony with 151 guests, followed by a reception at a country club. We took an 11-day honeymoon in Ireland. Meanwhile, Miranda and Tony had a simple city hall wedding with only immediate family, followed by dinner at a chain restaurant. Tony proposed after Miranda gave him a marriage ultimatum, which everyone knew about. Miranda also struggled with how quickly Jack's family embraced me. His parents and I share similar interests and personalities. His grandmother, whom everyone calls Nana, immediately included me in her weekly shopping trips and Sunday dinners. Miranda and Tony were together for 4 years before their wedding, but Nana never warmed to her the same way. The contrast grew sharper after Jack and I bought our suburban home 3 years ago. Miranda and Tony still rent a small apartment in the city, unable to afford a house in their area. Jack and I have stable corporate jobs with good benefits, while Miranda and Tony work retail with irregular hours. At Tony's birthday party last year, Miranda drank too much and argued with him about finances. In front of everyone, she said she should have married Jack instead of Tony because Jack had his life together. The room went quiet. I wasn't even shocked. I'd suspected Miranda had feelings for Jack for years based on her behavior around him. I responded by asking whose brother she meant, since Jack and Tony have a younger brother, Neo, who's only 26. Miranda lost it, yelling at me for twisting her words. The next day, she claimed she didn't remember saying anything wrong. Now for the update. Jack's mom visited yesterday to plan my baby shower, set for next month since I'm due in late January. Though twins often come early, so we're preparing for December. While she was here, I asked how Miranda and Tony were coping with parenthood. Jack's mom sighed heavily, saying it was messy. She said Miranda and Tony argued about baby names even before the birth. Miranda spent months researching girl names but refused to consider boy names. When Tony asked, she insisted the baby was definitely a girl. If it was a boy, she planned to name him Tony Jr., which caused a fight because Tony's older son from a previous relationship, who lives with his mom in another state and visits twice a year, isn't named after him. Tony thought naming the new baby Jr. would be unfair to his first son. Miranda, Jack's mom said, was convinced she was having a girl because she desperately wanted one. She refused to learn the baby's gender during pregnancy, fearing disappointment. She wanted to enjoy her pregnancy believing she was carrying a daughter. Miranda's desire for a girl tied to her family dynamics. Jack's mom, the only daughter in a family with 3 brothers, has 3 sons herself. My son was her first grandchild, but my daughter will be her first granddaughter in decades. When we announced our girl, Jack's mom cried with joy. She's always been kind to Miranda but never bonded with her. She adores my son in the sweetest way, planning weekly grandmother-grandson outings. Miranda saw this bond grow and believed having a daughter would finally make Jack's mom love her the same way. When Miranda delivered another grandson instead of the hoped-for granddaughter, something shifted in her. The hospital visit was messier than I realized. Miranda and Tony were still arguing about names when we arrived. Miranda hadn't mentioned Luke Max to Tony until she announced it to us. Tony was shocked and furious, hating the names and having no idea where they came from. He refused to sign the birth certificate with those names. They left the hospital without naming the baby. Per state law, parents have 11 days to register a name. Miranda eventually told Tony to choose whatever he wanted because she didn't care anymore. Tony picked Bruce Rocky, after his favorite basketball player and a boxer. He kept Rocky from Miranda's announced name but changed everything else. So, the baby was never officially named Luke Max Miranda's. Attempt to use my fake names lasted only until Tony intervened. Jack's mom said Miranda has been withdrawn since coming home from the hospital. She meets the baby's basic needs but seems detached. Otherwise, last week she broke down crying to Jack's mom, saying she'll likely never have a daughter due to her age and past fertility struggles. Despite everything Miranda put me through, I feel bad for her. A healthy baby should be enough, but I understand the pain of unmet expectations. Ironically, Miranda's emotional breakdown might bring her closer to Jack's mom, as they now share the experience of wanting daughters but having only sons. Miranda still doesn't know I planted the fake names, and I haven't told anyone in the family about my trick. Some might say I should come clean, but I see no point in making things worse for her now. I don't regret what I did. Miranda made my pregnancy tough with her demands and cruel remarks, but I'm not heartless enough to pile on when she's already struggling. Update 2. Miranda found out about my name trap, and the fallout has been worse than I expected. I gave birth to our twins in early January, named Rose and Frodo Jack. Yes, Rose was one of the fake names, but it was also on our shortlist for girls long before the trap, a pure coincidence that caused more issues later. Both babies are healthy, and we're managing well with 3 kids under 3. Jack took 2 weeks off to help, and his mom has been coming daily to assist with our older son. The trouble started when Jack's mom was holding Rose and commented on how beautiful her name was. She mentioned seeing it somewhere recently but couldn't place where. I brushed it off, saying Rose is a common name. That night, Jack's mom called me. She remembered seeing the name Rose on a paper in our nursery dresser drawer during Jack's dad's birthday party. She'd been looking for baby wipes when one of the kids had an accident, and I told her supplies were in the dresser. When she opened the drawer, she spotted a piece of paper slightly sticking out and pulled it to tuck it back neatly. She glanced at it and saw the names Rose Arwen and Luke Max. Jack's mother assumed these were our final name choices and didn't think much of it then. But when Miranda announced Luke Max at the hospital, Jack's mother realized Miranda had seen the same paper somewhere else. Miranda had rummaged through our nursery, found what she thought were our real names, and tried to claim one first. Jack's mother was livid that Miranda had invaded our private things and that I felt compelled to set a trap. I chose to tell her the full truth about my suspicions and the fake name setup. Jack's mother wasn't happy about the trickery but understood my reasons. She was more upset about Miranda's snooping than my scheme. The problem escalated when Jack's mother couldn't keep the story private. She shared it with Jack's father, who mentioned it to Tony during a call about an unrelated matter. Tony confronted Miranda, who initially denied everything but later admitted to searching our dresser drawers. According to Tony, Miranda completely broke down when she learned we'd fooled her. She confessed she'd wanted to use any name she found to hurt me and feel better about her own frustrations. She'd spent months resenting my pregnancy and wanting to spoil something for me, just as her fertility struggles had ruined things for her. Tony was angry, not just about the snooping but because Miranda admitted she chose their son's name to spite me. He told her she needed to apologize to both Jack and me immediately. Miranda refused, claiming I'd humiliated her by tricking her and that she wouldn't apologize for anything. She called me manipulative and accused me of turning the whole family against her. This sparked a huge fight between Miranda and Tony. He pointed out that she'd caused all of this by digging through our belongings and trying to steal our baby names out of malice. Miranda accused him of siding with me over his own wife. The argument intensified when Tony said he'd never liked the name Luke Max and was glad they'd chosen Bruce Rocky instead. Miranda yelled that she hated the name Bruce Rocky and wished she hadn't had a baby at all if it wasn't a girl. Tony left that night and has been staying with Jack's parents for the past 3 weeks. He's been caring for baby Bruce during the day while Miranda works, then returning him to her at night. They hardly speak. Jack's mother is caught in the middle, trying to support both grandsons while Tony and Miranda navigate their marriage. She's worried about the situation and concerned that the tension will affect baby Bruce. Miranda has been telling anyone who'll listen that I'm a terrible person who destroyed her marriage with my scheming. She's convinced some of Tony's coworkers and distant relatives that I'm manipulative and cruel. Jack is frustrated with his brother and Miranda for dragging our newborn twins into their chaos. He wants to cut off contact with them until they sort out their problems. I'm inclined to agree, but Jack's mother pleads with us not to worsen things by further splitting the family. I didn't expect my little experiment to expose this level of dysfunction in Miranda and Tony's relationship. I only wanted to confirm my suspicions about the name stealing. Now there's a baby stuck between two parents who can't stand to be in the same room. Part of me feels guilty for setting off this chain of events, but a bigger part believes Miranda's actions were bound to cause trouble eventually. I was just the spark that brought it all to the surface. Update 3. Miranda and Tony have separated, and she's completely vanished from our lives. The divorce moved quickly since they'd been married for only 6 years and didn't own much together. Tony kept their apartment lease and furniture. Miranda moved back to her parents' home in a city 2 hours away. The biggest issue was the custody arrangement for baby Bruce. Miranda initially demanded full custody, arguing Tony's unpredictable work hours made him an unfit parent. Tony countered by bringing up Miranda's comment about wishing she hadn't had the baby. Jack's mother testified about Miranda's behavior during the name dispute, including her admission of trying to hurt me on purpose. The judge was unimpressed by someone who'd used their child's name as a tool against family. Tony was granted primary custody, with Miranda getting supervised visits every other weekend. She has to travel to our city for the visits since the judge didn't want baby Bruce traveling constantly. Jack's parents supervised the visits at their home. For the first month, Miranda attended her scheduled visits and followed the rules, but she seemed detached from Bruce, often handing him to Jack's mother while she scrolled on her phone or watched TV. Then Miranda started skipping visits, first one, then 2 in a row, then months without contact. She stopped responding to Tony's calls to arrange makeup visits. When Jack's mother tried reaching her, Miranda's phone went straight to voicemail. We learned through social media that Miranda had started dating someone new, a man she'd apparently met at work before moving to her parents' place. Her Instagram showed them traveling, dining out, and living like a carefree couple in their 20s. Tony was heartbroken. Despite everything, he'd hoped Miranda would step up as Bruce's mother. He's been grappling with guilt over their marriage's collapse, wondering if he could have handled things differently. Jack's mother stepped in to help Tony with childcare while he worked. She's essentially become Bruce's daytime caregiver, which works well since she already watches my 3 kids daily. The cousins are growing up together, which is great for everyone. Miranda made one final appearance at a family event for Jack's grandmother's 85th birthday last month. She showed up unannounced with her new boyfriend, likely expecting to be welcomed as if nothing had happened. The atmosphere turned tense immediately. Miranda's boyfriend looked uncomfortable when he realized he'd walked into a family mess. Miranda tried to act normal, asking to hold Bruce and commenting on how big he'd gotten. Tony let her hold him briefly, but then said she wasn't supposed to be there outside scheduled visits. Miranda insisted she was family and had every right to attend family events. Jack's father finally stepped in, telling Miranda she'd forfeited the right to show up uninvited after months of ignoring her son and bad-mouthing family members. He asked her and her boyfriend to leave. Miranda broke down, sobbing that everyone had turned against her for no reason. She claimed I'd ruined her life with my scheming and that no one cared about her perspective. I'd stayed silent during the confrontation, but her comment pushed me to speak. I told Miranda that rummaging through my belongings and trying to steal my baby's name out of spite was her choice, not mine. I said she was responsible for her own life's problems and needed to stop blaming others for her actions. Miranda hurled insults I won't repeat here and said she hoped I'd be miserable forever. Her boyfriend, clearly embarrassed, started ushering her toward the door. They left as she continued shouting accusations at various family members. That was 2 months ago, and Miranda hasn't contacted anyone in the family since. Tony learned through mutual friends that she and her boyfriend moved out of state together. She's reportedly told people her ex-husband's family blocked her from seeing her son, which is completely untrue but easier than admitting she chose her new relationship over her child. Tony's doing well as a single dad. Bruce is a happy, healthy baby who beams whenever he sees his dad or grandparents. Tony recently started dating someone new, a woman from his company with 2 kids from a previous marriage. She seems to understand his situation and gets along well with Bruce. As for me, I don't regret setting the name trap. Miranda's reaction to being caught revealed her true character. Someone who'd abandon their child over being exposed for petty, spiteful behavior was never going to be a good mother. My twins are thriving, and my older son loves being a big brother. Jack and I are exhausted but overjoyed with our 3 kids. Despite everything, Jack's relationship with Tony has grown stronger. They talk regularly and support each other as dads. Family gatherings are much calmer without Miranda's drama and negativity. Jack's mother can focus on being a grandmother instead of managing Miranda's emotional outbursts. Even Jack's father, who usually stays out of family conflicts, has noted how much more peaceful everyone seems. People sometimes ask if I feel bad about how things turned out. The truth is, I didn't cause Miranda to abandon her child or end her marriage. I just created a situation that exposed her true self. She could have handled being caught with grace, apologized for snooping, and moved on. Instead, she chose to destroy every relationship she had rather than take responsibility. Bruce is better off without a mother who resented his existence from the day he was born. Tony is better off without a wife who married him as a second choice and spent years wishing she'd chosen differently. The whole family is better off without someone who brings drama and negativity to every event. My name trap worked better than I planned. I thought I'd catch Miranda being nosy and embarrass her a bit. Instead, I unknowingly helped a baby escape a toxic mother and Tony leave a harmful marriage. Sometimes the best thing you can do for someone is give them enough rope to reveal their true selves.
Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell icon so you never miss a twist. Stay tuned to Reddit Tales Times for your daily dose of drama, laughs, and unbelievable stories.